Hi, this is Christy. I want to show you an easy way to solve for proportions. As you just learned, a proportion is made up of two equal ratios. So you have one fraction on one side of the equal sign and another fraction on the other side of the equal sign. We're going to use cross multiplication to solve for the unknown number. So proportions have four numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and usually with word problems you'll have one unknown. We like to use an italics N, which just stands for number. So when you cross multiply, you need to make the shape of an X right on top of your proportion like this. The steps are, you're going to make your X and start with the line that has both numbers already filled in. That has two numbers, which would be, if you could take a look here, would it be this line here, this part of the X, or would it be this part of the X? It's going to be 4 and 10. You're going to start with this part of the X, and you're going to multiply. 4 times 10 is 40. And the last thing that you have to do is work on the second line of the X. And you're going to divide. You're going to divide by the one number that you know in the second line, which would be a 5. So let's solve for n. Start with the line that has two numbers. 4 times 10 is 40. 4 times 10 is 40. Divide by the number that you have in this part, which is a 5. Divided by 5 equals 8. There you go. N equals 8. Now, I also made a handy little plastic cover sheet here. It's just showing you that you have a bar going this way and a line or a bar going this way. You're going to start with the one that you know, 4 times 10. And then you're going to divide by the only number left in the other bar, by 5. And then you get the answer that's highlighted here. So let's do one more together. There. 2 over 3 equals n over 15. I place my plastic cover on top of it. Step 1 is to start with the line that has two numbers. 2 times 15 equals 30. Then you're going to divide by the number that you have left in the other line, which is a 3. Divide by 3. 30 divided by 3 is 10. So n equals 10. It's actually kind of easy once you get the hang of it. Let's do another one. Let's do 3 over 4 equals n over 6. Again, I can place this bar over here, and step 1 is to start with the line that you already know. I've got two numbers here in 3 and 6. 3 times 6 equals 18. And now I can divide by the other bar, the number that I already know, which is a 4. 18 divided by 4 equals, let's get our calculator out. They're not always going to turn out evenly, are they? There we go. 18 divided by 4, enter. 4.5. So n equals 4.5. Let's do another one. Do you notice how the n is not on the top anymore? It's on the bottom. You can actually have the n in any position in your proportion. You just still have to start with the line that has two numbers known. And as you can tell by looking, it's going to be this line here, 3 times 10. I can place this anywhere I want. And there we go. I'm still going to reserve this line for the end since I don't know both of the numbers. So step number 1, start with the line you know. 10 times 3 equals 30. What do I divide by? You take the other line of the x, and you already know there's a 2. Divided by 2. 30 divided by 2 equals 15. So n equals 15. Let's do one more. This time my n is on the bottom, and also it's on the left side of the proportion. Again, that is fine. It doesn't matter where your n is. I'm just going to maneuver this any way I want. There we go. So step number 1, start with a line that has 2 that I already know. 10 times 3. 10 times 3 equals 30. Step number 2, do the other line of the x and take the number that you know. 2. 30 divided by 2 equals 15. N equals 15. So can you see that here I had 2/3 equals 10 over n, and then I just flipped the proportion. I put this one on the left side. 10 over n equals 2/3. And as you can see, I got the same exact number. It doesn't matter which side your n is on. All right, let's solve a quick problem here using the steps that we just learned. This is going to be a proportion problem. 2 dogs have 8 legs. How many legs do 12 dogs have? I'm going to set up a proportion. First, you work with the numbers that you know. I know that 2 dogs have 8 legs. And go ahead and write your units. 2 dogs, 8 legs. The reason we write the units is so that we can get them correct on the other side, because you don't want to put, for instance, 12 dogs on the bottom here, because dogs is on the top. So dogs should be on the top, and legs should be on the bottom. Do we know any of the rest of the information? We do. How many legs do 12 dogs have? There, and you don't know the number of legs. So, 2 dogs have 8 legs equals 12 dogs over an unknown number of legs. That's the proportion. And let's put this the right way. And step number 1, start with the x that you already know 2 numbers for. Here we go. 8 times 12. 12 times 8. And if you don't know that, you can always work it out. 12 times 8. 8 times 2 is 16. Carry the 1, 96. That's step 1. Step 2, you have to do the other bar of the x, which is this one. We didn't do this one yet, right? And that's going to be division. Divided by 2 equals, let's see how many times 2 goes into 96. 2 goes into 9 how many times? 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Subtract, you have 1 left over. Carry the 6. How many times does 2 go into 16? 8. 8 times 2 is 16. So 2 goes into 96 48 times. And that is telling us that 12 dogs would have 48 legs. I hope that helped you figure out how to solve proportions a little bit.